And can you see my mummy reading a story with her baby there?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can see my slide. Yeah, brilliant. Perfect. Okay, so hi everybody. So I'm the Safeguarding Children Lead for the Trust, but I'm here telling you now about a little bit of work I did for my masters. I did some my masters work looking at one of a little project I did, a little sort of a baby research project looking at book sharing and how adults support children's learning through book sharing. And I had a little sort of a little intervention going, sort of filming book sharing of teenagers with younger children, looking at how they actively work to support children's learning. So just today, just a quick little presentation, and I'm hoping that I'm going to convince you that sharing books with babies is good for babies. We all knew that anyway, didn't we? But also it's good for carers. Okay, so it's going to make you a better parent or carer if you share books with your baby. So working a lot today using the work of Lynn Murray. So Lynn Murray is a professor of developmental psychology based at Reading Uni, and she's done longitudinal studies, particularly focused on mums who've struggled with their mental health, looking at how mums' interactions with their children's influence how their children's grow. And what she's found very consistently is what we all know is that sensitive interaction with infants is linked to those children developing a greater level of social understanding and those foundations of empathy. Yeah, that those children then have a higher level of emotional regulation skills. That sensitive interaction is really linked to those attachment patterns and linked to infant cognitive development. And the book I'm using here, I don't know if I can make because of this. Can you see this? This book, The Psychology of Babies. This is a book that Lynn's written for a general audience, summarising some of her research. I'm such a fan. I don't know if I can even show you. It's signed. So I really recommend this book if you want to read any more. And it's written for a general audience, loads of photographs, and it's absolutely brilliant. So we know, don't we, that one of the things that makes us human and what makes us really distinct as a species is how adults and older children really work hard to support the learning, to scaffold the learning of younger children. Okay, this is very distinct. If you think about it, it's very rare for this behaviour to appear elsewhere in the animal kingdom. They've done lots of research on chimps and primates. I know that they got very excited because they noted that mummy chimps would sometimes pass a stick to a baby chimp to help them when they were poking the sticks into the termite mounds to get out the termites. Yeah, incredibly rare behaviour in any other species to support a younger infant's learning. Okay, but this is key to how we are as humans. Scaffolding learning is a key part of being human, and of course it's part of our success, isn't it? Because if you think about it, so if a chimp is learning how to eat fruit, the chimp can watch an adult, a baby chimp will watch an adult picking the fruit off the tree and copy them, but the adult very rarely tries to guide the baby chimp. Okay, whereas us as humans, very much what we do is trying to support the learning, consciously supporting the learning of our infants and our children. So it's a really key part of us as humans. So Murray in particular has done lots of work on what she calls on the impact of book sharing. And she says we should look on books as a language acquisition device. Okay. She says that infants who share books with their parents and carers, of their vocabulary, fully 75% of it is gained through sharing books. So books are just an amazing tool. She says that book sharing helps infants improve their attention skills. It's a really key predictor of language and literacy skills. But what's important is to know is that the quality of book sharing is key. Okay, so what we really want parents and carers to have skills in is what's called dialogic book sharing. Okay, so think about it. 100 years ago, how were classrooms set up? Classrooms were set up, all the all the chairs facing the front, listening to the teacher, because the model of learning that we had then was that the teacher or the adult had all the information and the child was like an empty vessel waiting for all the information to be poured into the top of his head. Yeah, so the child just had to be sit still and be quiet, don't say anything, because you're just going to have all this information transferred into your head. But during the last century, through the work of educational psychologists and theorists, people like Vygotsky, people like Jean Piaget, people like Paulo Freire, we started to understand that children were actually active learners. Children are highly motivated learners, and that how we as humans learn best is when we're in control, when we're actively working to learn and taking part in our learning. Yeah, taking control of that learning. So now if you go into a classroom, all the desks are in little tables, aren't they? And the children face each other. They don't face the teacher. And teachers will talk to you about the level of creative hum they want in that classroom. That's associated with the best learning. We don't want children to be silent and just sit there and listen and absorb everything rotely. We want children to create their learning, to be little scientists, to go out and explore and learn and understand. But do you know what? A lot of research around parents book sharing with children is saying that some parents don't realise this. Some parents really struggle, and they think that if they're sharing a book with their child, they should read the words, the printed text on the book, on the page, and the child should sit quietly and listen, and the parent's in control. But there's a lot of evidence to show that the quality of book sharing, if you can get the child to lead, if you can get the child, if you can see the book as a tool to help you get a conversation going with the child, that the impact of that book sharing of the child is much greater. So I'm just going to show you a video here. This is just an introduction to dialogic book sharing.
Dialogic reading.
When My Mama Reads to Me by Julie Elkus.
A simple conversation while sharing a picture book with your child has significant advantages. This practice, called dialogic reading, is an easy addition to your story time and promotes positive language and social development.
Oh, what do you see in this pretty picture? What is that?
Pictures.
Pictures. And what else do you see?
A baby.
A baby.
How you read with your children is as important as how often you read with them. Here's a simple way to remember how to use dialogic reading with your child. Comment on the picture. Wait for your child to talk. Ask questions about the picture. Wait for your child to respond. Respond by adding a little more to what your child says about the picture.
And what else do you see?
An elephant.
That's right.
2 elephants.
2 elephants.
Tiger.
A tiger. Good job. And where do you think they are?
In trees.
Yep, they're in the trees at the zoo.
Here's something you can do today. Let your child choose a book with colorful pictures. Snuggle up together, comment, ask questions, and respond. Use CAR to get your child talking. Dialogic reading makes a difference.
So there you are. So there's a little introduction to dialogic reading for you. So books are key, aren't they? And we talked about the vocabulary that books offer, because, you know, if you're going through your everyday life with your child, you'll use the same vocabulary day in, day out. You'll talk about toothbrushes and breakfast and, you know, you might see the neighbour's dog. But imagine you open a book and suddenly you're seeing a caterpillar, aren't you? Or maybe you're seeing a castle, those kind of words that you don't encounter in everyday life. So it's easy to understand, isn't it, how books expand children's vocabulary so much more than you could ever hope to do in daily life. But what Murray's especially interested in is how books support children to understand about feelings and emotions, and in particular the theory of mind, this idea that everybody else has got a mind and a point of view. Okay, and if you don't understand, have the basic concept of that theory of mind, you're not going to develop empathy, are you? Yeah, because that's the building block of developing empathy, isn't it? And so think about it. here we are in The Very Hungry Caterpillar. So this is a book for, you know, I can remember reading this with my son when he was, you know, just a tiny, tiny baby, really. And suddenly you've got this image here. That night he had a stomach ache. Yeah. So it's offering you the opportunity to talk about subjective mental states, isn't it? And feelings. So you might be saying to a toddler, is the caterpillar happy or sad? Or why does he look sad if he's a bit older? Yeah. And then look at this. Here's Jack and the Beanstalk. And there's Jack's mum crying as Jack takes the cow off to market. Yeah. So suddenly you've got an opportunity now to talk to your very young child about loss, about grief, about saying goodbye to people. You know, these incredibly profound topics of human experience in a children's book. There for you to talk to your child, and you don't get these experiences very often, thank goodness, in everyday life. So again, so you might say to your child, what's she doing? What's she doing? What's Jack's mum doing? Oh, she's crying. And you might say, why is she crying? Why is she so unhappy? You know, those opportunities to talk about these difficult topics are here for you in Jack and the Beanstalk. So Dr. Grover Whitehurst is an American developmental psychologist, and he's put together lots of training packages, both for parents and carers, and actually focusing much more on early years teachers. And so he's giving you really clear sort of guidance about how sort of simple techniques to get you started on the Dialogic book sharing way if this isn't something you've thought about before. So what he's saying, so you notice your child may be looking at a picture of a bus in a book. So what he wants you to do as the parent or the carer or the teacher is you're wanting to notice what the child's interested in and respond and make it fun. So he says, so you're going to offer the child a prompt. Might be a prompt like, what's that? Could be a prompt in anything. The child is going to respond. Maybe they say bus. Maybe they don't say bus. You're going to offer the child an evaluation. So if the child says bus, you might say yes. Or if the child doesn't say bus, you might give the child that response, model that response. You might say a bus yourself. You might just say, well done. Whatever the child's level of response, you expand on it. So if the child said to you bus, you might say it's a red bus. Yeah. If the child hasn't responded, your expansion might just be that word, it's a bus. And then you repeat it. So can you see it spells peer down the side here? So prompt, evaluate, expand and repeat. So have a look at this mum here. She's going to be talking to her child using some of these techniques. What's interesting, she starts talking in Arabic first. So if your first language isn't English, I'm sure you'll know already the huge advantages to children of learning two languages. So you do this in the language in your mother tongue. Okay, you don't have to use the language of the book that's printed on the page. So have a look at this mum doing it.
شوف عمران شوف caterpillar بغات تمشي. Wow, look, it's a big yellow star. Yeah, she's climbing. He says climbing. She's climbing. Look, is she hungry? She's hungry just like you. هاي غادي تاكل on Monday. Apple. What's this?
Apple.
Good job. And on Tuesday she's gonna eat. What's this? Yeah, good job. 1, 2. Say 2. Good work. And then on Wednesday, she's gonna eat. Look, how many plums? 1, 2, 3 plums. What color is the plum, Imran? Look. What color, Imran? Show what color? What color is it? Imran. It's blue, right? What color is it?
Blue.
Good job. And then she's gonna eat on Thursday
Bye.
strawberry. Good work. How many? Can you count them? 1, 2, 3, 4. Nice work. And on Friday, look, she's gonna eat. What's this, Imran?
Bye.
Orange. This one is oranges. How many? 1,
2,
3,
4.
5. 5 oranges. You're right.
So there you go. So those are some of the, there's a mum there. Wasn't she great with her use of praise? She was so positive the whole time, wasn't she? So then Dr. Whitehurst gives you some different ideas about the kind of prompts you can use to start that conversation going. And I should say, you're not going to do this on every page. You're not going to do this on every book, but this is just something that you can do when it's right for you and when it's right for your child as well. So he's now saying, use this prompt, this crowd prompt. Okay, so you might use C, completion. So you might, for example, point to the wolf and say, there's the, and let the child shout out, wolf. Or lots of children's books have lots of repetition and rhymes. You know, rhyme books are brilliant for letting the child do the completion. So you might say, the wolf said, I'll huff and I'll puff and let the child say, I'll blow your house down. Yeah. Or you might think about recall prompts. So particularly where you've read a book again and again for a child, you might let the child start to tell you the story. What's happening now? Where are the pigs running to? Yeah. Open-ended. Again, I've just said, what's happening now? What's going on in this picture? Let the child tell you the story. And then the W questions. Who, what, where, when, why, and how. Yeah. Again, brilliant vocabulary building, aren't they? And then those distancing questions. So relate what you're seeing on the page to the child's everyday life. So you might say, remember when we saw a pig? Remember when you ran really fast? Yeah. So have a look now. Here's a dad trying to use some of the W questions.
Let's see. Did you get a good one? Wow, this is a touch and feel book about pets. What type of pet is this? Ooh, how does he feel? You want to tickle him? That's a dog. What type of sound do dogs make? Ruff, 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 ruff. So now, let's meet some of these friendly dogs. Do you want to feel this dog? He feels soft and furry. What do you think? You want to hug him? Yeah, he's soft and cuddly.
Ball.
That's right. There's a ball. Here's a dog. A second dog. And a third dog that's really fluffy. Fluffy, fluffy, fluffy. Okay, now let's turn to the next page and see what we have. Wow.
My lollipop.
These are 2 balls of yarn.
Mine.
What color are these balls of yarn?
Don't you lollipop.
This is a yellow ball of yarn. And
Red ball.
yeah. What type of animal do we have on this page?
Don't
Yeah, we can play with them after the cat has finished playing with them. Do you want to feel the cat's ears? They're soft and velvety. Yeah. What type of sounds do cats make? Meow. 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 What are these two things on the cat's face right here? What do we call those? Hmm? This is the cat's what? The cat's eyes. Whoa, what do we have here? You gonna switch the page? Okay, now let's...
So there you go. So I hope that's given you some ideas for the kind of prompts you might be able to use with a toddler. So I promised you at the beginning that I would show you not just how dialogic reading interventions can improve can improve children's language and literacy and social communication skills, but also it will impact on parents and carers. So Murray did a randomized controlled trial and she offered training in dialogic book sharing for parents and carers. Okay. What did she find? So she found that carers who'd completed this simple training, it was an 8-week program, they demonstrated increased sensitivity to their infants. Their quality of their talking about the book was improved. Their interactions around book sharing were enhanced. So there was a higher level of mutual engagement around book sharing. But here comes the most important thing. Even when those carers weren't sharing books, when they were playing with toys, there was a clear enhancement of carer sensitivity. So this simple dialogic book sharing intervention made a real impact, okay, in enhancing parents and carers' skills and making them more sensitive to their infants' cues. Okay, and we talked at the beginning about how important parental sensitivity is, and I know that that's going to be a theme throughout the week. So, and what they're saying is actually when we notice that children who share books with their parents do better, what we're actually observing is that those children are the ones with the more sensitive parents. So she's thinking that it's the parental sensitivity that's causing the impact of book sharing on infants. So just to summarize, really, book sharing with your child. So you're talking to parents and carers. We want them to notice what the baby's interested in. So can you see this child here is noticing this t-shirt on this baby, and mum notices it, doesn't she? Yeah. And she's responding and she's making it fun. So can you see here in the next slide? She's pointing out the little boy's got his t-shirt on. Yeah. So last video, have a look at this dad. So this dad is taking it as far as it can go now. He's just seeing the book as a tool to get a conversation going with his little toddler. And he is brilliant. And he's completely letting his little toddler lead her learning. This little girl is the one in charge and she's having a great time.
Oh dear, what's the matter? Oh dear, put your hand over your mouth like this. What's that?
Cheese.
What are they?
Cheese.
Cheese?
Yes.
Not cheese. What's it, potatoes?
No, not cheese.
That's not cheese, that's onions and potatoes. You're just teasing me. What are they?
Nana.
No, you're just joking with me.
Nana.
They're not, you're teasing me. You know they're not. What are they?
Aki.
What?
Remain. Remain.
You're deliberately doing this. You're deliberately joking with me.
Tommy. Naughty.
He's a naughty teddy bear, is he? Let's have a look, see what's on the next page.
No. Veg.
Hmm? All right.
Veg.
All right, you turn it.
Veg. Oh, veg.
That's nice bread. Do you want a piece? You have a bit. Oh, don't bite my finger.
Then
I don't like that bread. I like that bread, but you need to cut it. Will you get me a piece of bread and cut it for me with a knife? Now give me it in my mouth, please. Yes, please, some more. Will you put some jam on as well? Okay. Ooh, that's lovely. Thank you. More! I'm full now. I'm full of bread. Oh, you got it on my nose. I'll have to wipe my face, wash my face, because you've got jam all over my face. Will you wash my face for me, please? Oh, you're doing it deliberately now.
Money.
Honey?
Oh,
All left.
yes.
Let's see what's on the next page, because he hasn't got very much in his trolley. He's still got an empty trolley. You put the bread in the trolley, you put it in. Okay.
Oh, it's up.
So what have we got there?
Up. Easy.
Take it up.
Easy.
To read it.
Easy.
What's
Huh?
what's that?
Picking.
Pardon?
Picking.
Eating.
No. Picking.
Beans. No, tins. I don't know what you're saying.
Hey, mommy. No, mommy.
What is it?
Apple.
Apple. Okay, you're going for an apple.
Apple there.
Yeah, what else?
I do this.
Orange juice. Well, oranges.
Flowers.
Flowers. Smell the flowers. Let me smell the flowers. Get a flower. Pick a flower for me. Pick one for me. Let me smell it, please. Oh, it's lovely, isn't it?
Yes.
Lovely.
And egg.
What are they?
Egg. Mommy, egg.
Eggs. They're a bit like eggs, but they're actually plums.
Rough.
They're the same shape. It's hard to tell. What about these? Do you know what these are?
Cheese.
They're called lemons.
Flowers.
They're bits. They're a bit bitter.
Flower.
Very nice flowers, aren't they? Lovely.
Yes.
Should we buy some flowers for Mummy?
Yes.
Okay.
So there you go. So there's a brilliant dad there. He's just using the book as a tool to get that lovely collaborative conversation going with his little toddler there. So in summary, book sharing, really good. But if you can use it as a tool, you're not sticking to the words on the page, you're using it as a tool to have that conversation going and let your child lead. The summary of my presentation. Any questions, or have I hope I've made sense on some level?